Welcome to the September 13th, 14th edition of the Beatdown Report. My name is The Clute. This is the Beatdown Report. This is my show. But today, we have a special guest for you.
Hi, America.
You heard that voice, you know who it is.
It's Captain Bill.
It's Bill Campana, Arizona poetry legend. Our first interview here on the Beatdown Report was with Bill Campana after they passed SB 1062. Yeah. So, you know what? We've brought Bill Campana back.
Because I have nothing to do these days.
Right. We're going to touch on that in a minute. We're going to talk about the circumstances that have brought Bill back to the Beatdown Report headquarters, world headquarters, 50 miles beneath the surface of Phoenix, Arizona, between a layer of magma
and smegma
and gross and Jan Brewer's house.
Yes. Yeah.
So yes. So it's September 14th, but we're actually recording this on Labor Day.
Right.
Because why? Because as you're hearing this, as you're listening to this live on September 14th, which I'm sure you are listening to it live right now on our Ustream broadcast, right?
Right.
I am traveling to Ensenada, Mexico, where I'll be boarding the Solmar 5, where I'll be spending 5 days aboard a floating shark asylum. I'll be out at Isla Guadalupe diving with the great whites of Mexico.
Before you leave, see me, because I've got about 300 to 400 plastic shopping bags I want to give you, so you could just throw them right into the ocean.
Bill is tying into an argument, a debate I had online the other day, as well as a blog post up on theclute.com.
No, I'm serious. I got to get rid of these things.
Well, you take them to get recycled properly, drop them off.
They're going to end up in the ocean anyway.
Not if you recycle them. Or why are you using plastic bags? See, this is the part of the thing. People need to turn their phones off in the studio. That's me smacking my fist menacingly. But no, what we're going to be doing about this plastic bag thing, there's a post up on theclute.com, which is my online home for stuff. And the post is entitled, "Freedom's Just Another Word for Filling the Ocean with Microplastics." And we talk about why some libertarians and conservatives believe that plastic bags are just the best goddamn thing ever for the environment. And we want to dispel that notion. So I encourage you to read that post up at theclute.com. It should be up tomorrow, September 2nd. So if
I'll be looking for that.
It's a good post. I think I cover the issue nicely. I kind of address where the concerns are on the conservative side, and I shoot them down. I blow them out of the sky.
And into the water.
Where unfortunately they pollute the ocean.
Right, and where they're eventually devoured by sharks.
So it's Labor Day.
Yes, it is.
Bill, are you enjoying your 3-day weekend?
I've been looking forward to it for quite a while.
Because you've had
I've had like a month off.
You've been working hard.
Yes, I've been working.
Or, as that classic Jerry Lewis film is called, hardly working.
Hardly working.
Because you have been laid off.
Well, not laid off. The company I worked
right.
for 29 years shut their doors. Their new company logo is a padlocked gate. That's our new logo.
That is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
But you got nice little cushion saved up, so you're going to take some time off, enjoy your life.
I may just take the rest of the year off. I may just cruise into 15. An unemployed man.
Not a bad thing. If I could take a couple months off, I would do it.
I recommend it to everybody. Have money. Don't go into there with.
Yeah. Don't go in there like certain poets who live in the city of Tempe.
No poets do that. But you know what's good about being unemployed now is that I have plenty of time during the day to drive around, and the panhandlers on the freeway corners there, I pull up and ask them for money.
That's a good strategy.
That's
because if they each
just
gave you $1,
pal. Yeah.
If you drove around the city and they each just gave you $1, you'd wind up
I
at
would
the
have
end
like
of the day.
$7.
Well, you'd probably have a little more than that. If you go by my house on 16th and Thomas at the Arizona 51
right.
and Thomas Road interchange,
like a whole row of them there?
Yeah, there's like one on each corner. And I give money to. I've been giving bottles of water to them lately.
They call that Panhandle Wars.
They do.
Sort of like just that gas.
That's
going
to be on. Well, no, it's Panhandle Wars. That's going to be on A&E.
Oh, okay.
Bravo. Bravo A&E History Channel, the Learning Network.
It's about time they have a reality show for
It
for
is
homeless
indeed.
people.
I think we don't have enough reality shows. I think this could be the
Period.
one that
Yeah.
really gives people the necessary push to have more reality shows on TV.
By the way, are we on AM or FM right now?
We are on what is exactly? I don't know. We have a designation on that, Bill. I think we're on Ustream. So UM.
So we've crossed the portal into some supernatural world.
We have.
Oh, excellent!
We are being beamed directly to your computer live via Ustream right now. We are also available on Podbean, where you can listen to archive shows.
I'm there.
The beatdownreport.podbean.com if you want to catch up on any of our previous shows. So, Bill, you are an Arizonan.
I am.
I'm an Arizonan.
I am. You are.
I am. You are. So, what happened last week? We had something kind of a big deal, didn't we?
Wasn't it the gubernatorial primaries?
It was just one of many primaries, and I think that we have some breaking news about those primaries.
Doug Ducey.
Doug Ducey has won the Arizona
He's
state
the ice cream czar.
The ice cream czar.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna talk a little bit. We're gonna spend most of the show today talking about Doug Ducey. I want to touch on some of the other results. But it would sure be nice if we had some breaking news. Some breaking news that might be happening. Like that. Oh, here we go. Breaking news. Can't have breaking news without a breaking news sound. So this just into the Beatdown Report. We have a tie race in the race for governor. As of September 1st, actually as of August 31st, we have a tie race. 2 polls were released, one right after the election by Public Policy Polling, PPP polls, and one by Rasmussen. Now, PPP is a liberal, progressive-leaning pollster, and Rasmussen is Fox News' favorite pollster.
Isn't he from Russia, Rasmussen?
No, there is a pollster who
That's
is from
Rasputin.
Russia. That was Rasputin.
I'm getting it mixed up.
But no, there is one dude. I can't remember his name. Zogby. I can't remember where Zogby's from.
Putin.
But Rasmussen is Fox News' favorite pollster. So when the PPP poll came out that showed that there was a tie race between Fred Duvall, the Democratic candidate, and Doug Ducey, the conservatives were all like, "Oh, this is a biased poll. Oh my God, who are these progressives think they can take polls?" Now keep in mind that PPP polls. I'm just going to say PPPP because it's a lot of P's there,
right?
But they were by ranking in 2012. They were the most accurate pollster. Multiple agencies, multiple newspaper outlets, and news agencies came to that conclusion. And during the Obama election, a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, you can't trust these polls," and so the conservatives thought they were going to. One of the funniest goddamn things about the 2012 election, I think I read this story like 5 times in a row, was that Mitt Romney thought he was going to win. Up until the night of the election. I know, it's hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember seeing that picture of him holding up the newspaper headline that said "Dewey wins."
But the best thing about it was like Mitt Romney was very stoic about it, and I hate to take pleasure in other people's pain. I hate to indulge in the sin that is Schadenfreude, but that Ann Romney was devastated by it. Was just like, she was the worst. She, to me, was one of the top reasons why I did not want Mitt Romney to win the presidency, because she would have been like Nancy Reagan as first lady on steroids, on acid,
and in a Cadillac.
And can you imagine?
Multiple Cadillacs.
Could you imagine what a first lady Ann Romney would be like? We're speechless. I mean, it's a horrible proposition. But so Romney thought he was going to win, and then everyone was crying, and then Romney's like, "Well, I guess I got to call Obama, and I guess I got to write a losing speech." And all these people believed. There was this one guy named Dean Chambers, and he worked for some right-wing news outlet on the East Coast, and he was prepping a book. He was calling it "Unskewing the Polls," and he was going to show how these pollsters were screwing up their polling and that they were giving Obama too much credit and all this other stuff. And where's Dean Chambers now? He's sitting in his mom's basement eating goddamn Cheetos and licking the dust off his fingers. And you know why? Because Barack Obama kicked Mitt Romney's ass. And only one pollster showed that really was going to happen consistently, and that was
P.
Too many P's. But Rasmussen, on the other hand, Rasmussen had a very. They were, they definitely were in the margin of error. They were hedging their bets.
You know why Mitt lost? He had low P.
There's treatments for low P that you can get. But Rasmussen. Rasmussen was basically saying that it was a toss-up. Now, in this race, public policy polling, they say that each of the candidates has like 33% of the vote, and the Libertarian guy, Barry Hesse, has 12%, which I think that's overstating Barry Hesse's support. But the Rasmussen people, they have it tied at 40% each. If you have a very conservative pollster saying one thing and a very liberal pollster saying the same thing, different numbers, but the same thing, the result is probably in the middle, which is probably a tie race.
Right.
But, man, these Ducey people, the supporters of Doug Ducey, they're not buying it. There's a...
You know what they are buying?
Ice cream?
Ice cream.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
We're going to talk a little about... we're going to talk a little about Mr. Doug Ducey's
Doug
past.
used to be the good humor man?
I think he had an ice cream truck that may have... Yeah. I don't know if this is true, and I'm just going to put this out there, and if Doug Ducey wants to say... He wants to come on the show and refute these allegations, I welcome him on the show. But I'm thinking that Doug Ducey drove an ice cream truck through a crowd of school children. I'm not saying that's true. I've simply heard it on the web. But if Doug Ducey, if you're listening, if you want to come on the show and refute those charges, we will be happy to have you on here. But so one of the people who is saying that these polls are skewed, her name is Lilia Deshevsky. Now, she is the Arizona Teenage Republicans chairman. She apparently is.
Don't believe what teenagers say.
Well, sometimes teenagers have it right.
They want to stay out late at night.
Teenagers
So
get the
lie.
music right. Teenagers know what the next big thing is. They gave us Elvis.
Oh, they gave us that.
They gave us the Beatles.
They gave us that Bobby Dylan.
They gave us Bobby Dylan.
They gave us Bobby Dylan.
Who's Bobby Dylan? Do you mean Bobby Darin?
Bob Dylan.
Oh, Bob Dylan.
Gee.
Well, I don't know him as Bobby Dylan.
Who's that Johnny Lennon guy?
But Lilia Deshevsky, and she is, and I'm hoping I'm
gave us
pronouncing her
Ringo.
name right.
The teenagers gave us Ringo.
She's also the Representative Paul Gosar press aide. She's apparently a city GOP intern, whatever the hell that is. But she went to Twitter, and she responded with, let's see here.
All these kids,
Here's a tweet from Lilia Deshevsky. She's saying that the flawed Arizona governor Rasmussen poll oversampled young voters. In 2010, less than 40% of under 40 voters or 20% of the AZ electorate. The poll today sampled 25%. Now, she's making the same mistake that the pollsters made in 2012 because they dramatically undersampled the youth vote, the black vote, the Latino vote.
So now they're oversampling it.
Right. Well, I don't think they're oversampling. I think 25% will actually be because of what's happened in the previous year with SB 1062, and I think going back to SB 1070 as well. And then she says...
How could you actually oversample it if you ask the same people?
Well,
twice?
No, what you do is you get like a statistical, like 100 people, and then you have 25 young people, then as opposed to 20 young people or something like that.
I see.
But then she says what the kicker is, and by what she means that this is her evidence that the Rasmussen poll is flawed. She says that it shows a 45% approval rating for Barack Obama among Arizonans, even higher than the national average. It's not that much higher than the national average, and I would say right now I'd say you would have a higher percentage of people who like Barack Obama simply because right now when the polls are being taken, you've got lots of kids back from college. You've got lots of Latinos who are vested because of things that have happened in the political race. Ruben Galejo winning.
If the people are high anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Got medical marijuana.
Do we have a live feed from the
Balboa
House? Balboa House?
Ooh.
All right. Let's go live to the Balboa House. No, we're not going to do that. Anyway. Oh, there we go. There's our live feed. Anyway, so Lilia Deshevsky rejects the poll basically because she does not like it.
Right.
And then I made some comment about it, and her response to me was, "Your maturity level baffles me."
Wow. Oh.
And then
how old is she?
I don't know.
She's a teenager?
I guess she's part of the Teenage Republican in Arizona, whatever.
Oh, good for her.
And then I said, get a sense of humor.
Hitler had a youth
people
group too.
People always say that liberals don't have senses of humor, but man, conservatives have the worst senses of humor. Anything that challenges their worldview, that's not funny. that's just depressing.
It is.
You know, because liberals. There's some like humorous liberals out there, but conservatives, man, if it's not making fun of homeless people or minorities, conservatives they don't.
Well, Hupenthal's hysterical.
Oh, we'll talk about John Huppenthal when we come back from the break. Our first break is going to be right now, where we want to remind you that today's show is brought to you by Brick Cave Media, which provides both independent cinema, spoken word and music, and literature to the small independent press. Books, including Bill Campana, your book, Said Beauty to the Blues. Which is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Brick Cave Media. The trunk of my car.
You can buy it out of the trunk of Bill's car.
That's right.
Which you always know a classy publishing house. House when they. What is with my voice today, man? I'm like, hey there, kids. It's Clooney the Nerd. Anyway, yeah, I wish it was that. I don't smoke pot, actually.
Neither do I.
I don't find it enjoyable.
To all the to all my future employers out there, I do not.
Yeah. Well, they're going to drug test your ass anyway.
Yeah,
so.
right.
But so Brick Cave Media will, if you want to check out many of our CDs and books, including mine, which is Reading the Obituaries Over My Dead Body, my spoken word album, which can be found on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and various publishing
It can be
houses.
found there now?
It can be found there.
Oh.
Bill Campana's book and other books and movies, including Sacrifice, which, by the way, if you were watching Brick Cave Media's feed this weekend, you could have watched Sacrifice for free. And also, this show, while you can watch Sacrifice for free on Labor Day weekend, this show is not free. Unfortunately, this costs money. And right now, we're paying for it, and we got no problem with that. But there may be a time when we might need to dip into some funds that we don't have. So if you go to the beatdownreport.podbean.com, there's a link in the upper left-hand corner for PayPal. You can click on it, and you can donate any amount of money, whatever you think the show is worth. And we will happily take that, and we will happily use it for further improvements to our podcasting.
And you don't even have to have a bucket of ice water and cubes dumped on
That's
your
right.
head.
We're not going to make you take
You don't have to do the ice bucket challenge.
Do you know how much money actually goes toward ALS research?
Probably very little.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's something like, I can't remember, it's either 23% or 77%. But it's still less than 100%.
Don't they know that they're just wasting precious ice?
Which could go in my
go in my drink
Yeah.
right there.
But my favorite thing was, I forget, someone had put it up. I wish I remember who wrote this, but some conservative jackass basically wrote that we have all the time in the world to solve ALS.
Really?
Yeah, like it was only affecting a small group of people, and I'm like, holy.
It only affects baseball players.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, if you want to donate to charity, donate to charity. But don't just dismiss it by saying, oh, not enough people suffer from ALS.
Right.
People suffer from ALS, and it's a fucking terrible disease. So
yeah, it is.
So donate money to ALS, even though not all of it may go to research, but still more than was going before. Let's get back to the show. Bill.
Yes.
So who else? We're going to go back to the governor race in a second. But let's give a rousing. What do you think about the results of the Huppenthal election? What do you think?
Oh, Johnny's a nut job.
Yeah.
I like his campaign posters where he's just in the middle of a whole crowd of children of all ethnicity, that they will grow up someday only to have him insult them face to face.
Yeah. I remember I actually tussled with John Huppenthal, a.k.a. Falcon 9, on Espresso Pundit. That was his handle, Falcon 9.
Falcon 9.
Yeah, and my favorite comment to him was I made a snarky comment about he was complaining about multiple ethnicities in Arizona and English not being spoken widely and blah blah blah, and I said, hey, have you seen the food court lately? There's all these restaurants, Chinese, Greek, Mexican, and he responded with, and I quote, I don't mind Mexican restaurants as long as the menus are mostly in English.
Wow.
And I
they are. Be number 2, number 1, number 3. I'll have a number 4.
But think about that.
Number 5.
He wants Mexican restaurant menus to be in English. I don't know that there is a direct translation for tortilla or sopapilla or anything like that. These are words.
Flatbread.
Yeah, flat. I would like a flatbread with cheese and refried beans,
yes,
please.
I would like
or you can just say
bean and flatbread.
But and that exchange between me and Falcon
like a
9,
large corn chip folded in half with ground beef inside of it.
I believe you can get that at Sonic. I like Sonic. But back to Huppenthal real quick. But that was one of the more quoted exchanges. So I feel like I may have helped bring down John Huppenthal just a little bit. I was one of the many cuts that was inflicted. I wasn't the knife directly into the heart, but I was definitely one of the outside.
Cut him. You just didn't cut him deep.
I didn't cut him deep enough. And that's only honestly because Greg Patterson of Espresso Pundit, in that exchange, he cut the debate off.
Is he related to Kevin Patterson?
He is not related to Kevin. Well, I'm sure if you have the last name, I'm sure at some point you know,
right.
Everyone from that name.
If you trace their lineage back to the cave, they were probably
exactly. We're all related to Adam and Eve.
That's right.
But no. So Huppenthal's gone, as is human scandal Tom Horn. Now, if you're not in Arizona, this didn't get outside much. But Tom Horn was banging his mistress, who I believe was on the state payroll.
So he was getting his horn blown?
Payo. But yeah, so he was basically like indicted or charged with or under investigation for like the better half of 2 years. And my favorite thing about this, my absolute goddamn favorite thing, was watching all the conservatives who had voted for Tom Horn and supported Tom Horn turn on him and act like they had never voted for him before. They were just like, Tom Horn? How did he get elected? Certainly not because of my vote. Tom Horn? I never heard of the man.
Yeah.
And they turned on him faster than...
good for him.
Faster than, what's that guy who killed that guy in the racetrack? I don't know.
Oh.
You got to get your metaphors ready, Clute, if you're going to do them on air.
He raced again yesterday.
He did.
Yeah,
Good
he
for him.
Didn't kill anybody. He came in like, I don't know, 54.
Tony Stewart, right?
Tony Stewart.
Yeah, Tony Stewart. Yeah, Tony Stewart, man. He's a murderer. I'm just gonna put it out there. He killed a man.
He's driving around now he's driving in a hearse now out of NASCAR. He's got
That's the pace car when he races. The pace car is a hearse. The Daytona 500.
My God.
Anyway, screw those rednecks.
You know where he should go? He should take a cruise down Dick Cheney Street.
Oh. Dick Cheney drives around in a Mad Max styled SUV.
A segue.
But yeah, so Tom Horn got booted as well. So the conservatives won and lost in the Arizona election because they've elected some really shaky people. They've elected Diane Douglas to be their standard bearer for the superintendent of education. And she's got some wacky... I mean, Diane Douglas gets elected, and you're going to see some weird shit happen in Arizona schools.
Like, people passing?
No, like the opposite. Or they'll pass.
They'll be dropping out.
They'll pass, but she's one of those people who's against Common Core, and she's one of those people who, believes in like charter schools. She wants to give state money to private schools and stuff like that. And my tax money, I don't want my tax money going
I want my tax money to go to private prisons. Hell with private schools.
Well, that's what they're going to wind up when they get this shit education in Arizona schools.
Private prison.
But the big race, going back to the gubernatorial race, was Fred Duvall, who ran unopposed on the Democratic side, and Doug Ducey, who beat out 6 other candidates, if I'm not mistaken. He beat Ken Bennett, the current Secretary of State, Christine Jones.
Ken Bennett here.
Ken Bennett, man, he was the one guy in 2012 who wanted to launch an investigation into Barack Obama's birth certificate and had made noise about, well, maybe he wouldn't allow Barack Obama on the ballot because he couldn't prove his citizenship. So Ken Bennett was a birther. Good riddance to him.
Ken.
Christine Jones, she was the former head of GoDaddy, businesswoman, successful businesswoman, unlike the actual candidate, Doug Ducey, which we'll get to Doug Ducey
He's
in
an
a
ice
minute.
cream man.
He's an ice cream man, but we'll get to why Doug Ducey sucks in a minute. He beat out, although he dropped out early, Senator Al Melvin, who's one of my real regrets that we didn't get on the show, because Al Melvin is just a big ball of crazy wrapped up in a teddy bear. I mean, he's the guy, he's like, my favorite thing about Al Melvin is like when there's like a holiday where you normally fly the flag, whether it's Flag Day or Veterans Day or 9/11 or whatever.
Or Melvin Day.
He's like, fly your flag proudly because Democrats won't. And I'm like, that's a very blanket statement about Democrats not flying the flag.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. He beat Frank Riggs, who we invited on the show. And I want to say right now, Frank Riggs, you promised me, or at least your Twitter account promised me you would come on the show, and you didn't. And I would have given you the Beatdown Report bump because you know who did come on the show, and you know who did win? Michael Weiser, the Democratic candidate from Congressional District 4. Michael Weiser won with 100% of the vote, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
That was a landslide.
Man alive, that's a hippie on the move right there.
Yeah, right there. But no, congratulations to Michael Weiser. We're going to have him back on the show to follow up and see how things are going with his
Should
campaign.
bring ice cream when he's here.
We'll have ice cream, but we're going to have Baskin Robbins because I like my ice cream that doesn't default on a federal loan. So he beat Frank Riggs and he beat Andrew Thomas, the former. I tried to get him on the show as well. Reached out to someone who had the kind of a friend of his, but he chose not to come on the show. We wish him well in his future career of doing whatever it is he's going to do. And he also beat Mayor Scott Smith, or is Scott Smith or Steve Smith? I don't know.
Scott Smith.
Scott Smith of
Mesa, right?
Mesa, which Mesa, if enough people will try,
enough people will fail.
That's right. Yes. And unfortunately, Scott Smith is just another example. But Scott Smith
was hipster-free living in Mesa.
It is hipster-free living.
Remember that.
But Scott Smith was actually a really good choice for Canada. He was someone that I could have considered voting for because he had a fairly progressive view on a few issues. He's still a Republican. He's still beholden to Republican interests. But I don't think I wouldn't have had the opposition to him that I would have had to the other candidates.
Right.
I still probably would have voted for Duval because I like Duval's positions on a lot of issues. I think Duval can really unite the rational right, the middle, and the left. I think he can unite them.
Rational left?
Yeah, there's an irrational left.
There's like 3 people, 3 or 4.
No, there's a lot more than that. But the irrational left are going to vote for
5
the
or 6.
Because the Green Party doesn't have a stake anymore in Arizona elections. But yeah, so Scott Smith would have been, I think, a good choice for the Republican Party. But the Republican Party, as it is, decides that they looked at their candidates and they said, who do we have here? Well, we've got business people, state senators, secretaries of state, former congressmen,
and an ice cream
mayors.
Man.
And an ice cream man. And he's more than the ice cream man. The ice cream man doth cometh. Right. But he was the treasurer of the state of Arizona, which is like when you were in student government, the most useless position, at least for me, was treasurer. You didn't do anything, right? Were you treasurer? You were treasurer of student government? But you didn't do anything, right? You did a lot? Oh, I didn't do shit when I was treasurer. When I was treasurer of my condo association board back in Florida, I didn't do shit as treasurer. But Jen LeBuzz, our PR person, she's saying, no, I did a lot. Well, I'm going to go with my experience for this part of the show, not yours. But the treasurer, I think in Arizona, basically I don't even know what their job to do is. I think it's basically to check the Scrooge McDuck era vault that we've got that all Arizona money goes into. And I believe he takes a swim every day.
A swim, yes.
He would jump into the vault and he'd spit the coins out of his mouth, and he would take.
Doug Ducey call those cash dives, where
dives.
You just spread the floor with greens, and just take a running and do a chest dive like Pete Rose into it. Oh yeah,
Pete Rose.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's. Do you see his appeal? Pete Rose's appeal to get onto the.
Oh yeah, they should let him back.
No, fuck that.
Well, why not? What did he do? He gambled.
He gambled. But you know what? And
did he ever throw?
He's
a
also
game?
Pete Rose is a colossal dick.
Well, yeah.
Anyone who comes up to him,
name me one baseball player that isn't. Barry Bonds.
I believe. What's his name?
Colossal.
Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb. Oh yeah, it was nothing but a gentleman from the South, right there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Ty Cobb
loved all people.
If you're not getting that joke, Ty Cobb was a virulent racist.
He was a racist, and he beat up a man in a wheelchair.
Did he really?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Well, okay, then I'll take back my tie. Not just for the racism
Not just
alone,
any man, a fan.
He beat up a fan in a wheelchair. Now we're talking about Ty Cobb, not Doug Ducey. We don't know if Doug Ducey wants to come on the air and refute allegations that he beat up
anybody.
I don't know. We should start that rumor. But let's see.
Although Doug does have a couple of paddles.
Yes. But yeah, but Doug Ducey's big thing that he's been pushing that he's been selling himself as is he was the man who turned Cold Stone into this huge empire.
Right.
Now,
Is
first
Cold
off,
Stone national or is it
is
just
national.
regional?
It is national. In fact, Cold Stone partnered with Discovery Networks to produce a Shark Week flavor ice cream.
Oh, wow.
It was actually good. It's plain ice cream,
Krill.
krill flavor. No, it's cream ice cream, but it's flavored. It's colored blue, and they mix in graham cracker crumbs to like sand, and then they mix in gummy sharks, and it's quite good. But yeah, Cold Stone is a big deal. And but the problem is that
You know what's good in that Cold Stone?
Bill, do you have some?
If you fold in some meth, that's really good. That's an Arizona flavor.
That's
right
an Arizona
there.
flavor. I believe that's called the Camp Verde Ripple.
Oh, there we go.
But so Doug Ducey, what he is alleged to have done is gone to franchisees and say, "Hey, Cold Stone, we're rocking it up the charts. So why don't you hitch your wagon to us right now, and go to the Small Business Association, the Small Business Authority, get a government loan, and don't worry, you're going to be making money hand over fist. Don't worry about it. Everything's great." And what happened? Well, any business is a risk. But what Doug Ducey was doing, he was basically flooding the market with Cold Stones. And when you flood the market with Cold Stones, it's like Starbucks, you have too many in too many places, one of these locations is going to fall by the wayside. And what happened is a lot of these small business owners, a lot of these franchisees lost their shirts because they invested and then the money that they were kind of sold on wasn't there, and they defaulted on these federal loans, which one screws them.
Right.
Because they have to pay back those loans or they have to declare bankruptcy. And under the new bankruptcy laws, you still have to pay back your loans. Screwed over all the employees who work for Doug Ducey. And they also screwed over us, you and me, the taxpayer.
Oh, I love being screwed over.
Yeah, because who takes the hit on those loans when they're not paid back? If they're federally secured, there's you and me. So Doug Ducey, basically, for the most part,
Screwed us.
And he's going to do the same thing to Arizona. And we're going to talk about that after we come back from this music break. This week's music break, we have the band Number A. And this is their song, The Deep. A Beatdown Report exclusive. This is Number A with their hit song.
Remember, supporting Brick Cave Audio is as easy as clicking on the PayPal link located on the Brick Cave Audio homepage. When you donate to Brick Cave Audio, you're helping us pay for all of the resources to bring you these exciting shows like The Uninformed Tech Guy.
Hi, I'm Bill Campana, author of Said Beauty to the Blues, a book of poetry. If you're interested in it, and I know you are because I wrote it, go to brickcavebooks.com.
And we're back. Wow, that was loud.
Wow, it was.
But no, we're back. I got some breaking news from my Sharknado game. A surprise victory at the polls as the residents elect a hammerhead shark the next mayor.
Ooh.
That's from Sharknado, the game. Available at the App Store.
He got the mackerel vote, I understand.
He did get the mackerel vote, which is surprising because you think mackerels would not vote for the thing that eats them, but we continue to vote for politicians. So hey, topical humor.
Ba-doom-ching.
So anyway, Doug Ducey screwed over a lot of people in the small business in the name of ice cream.
Right
now, in honor of Doug Ducey, because we're not all vitriol, we're not all suggesting that Doug Ducey is a charlatan who would sell his grandmother, a faulty pacemaker just to make a buck. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm not suggesting that Doug Ducey is a used car salesman running for governor who really wants to get
he's
you
a
in
handsome family man.
He's a handsome family man. Put on a damn tie, Doug Ducey.
He looks like Mitt Romney's eldest son.
Like there's a fucking campaign out of him sitting at a Cold Stone right now, wearing a blue shirt and no tie, and it doesn't look like the shirt is ironed, and it looks like his mom cut his hair. Doug Ducey, Arizona deserves better than you. But Bill, because we are fair and we are going to honor him with some special.
I understand that he has a whole new batch of flavors for his Cold Stone Creamery stores in honor of his Republican nomination for the
hit me
gubernatorial race. If you don't know what Cold Stone is, it's a big marble slab and it's cold, and they put a glob of ice cream on there, and then if you like, sprinkles, they'll fold in some sprinkles. If you like meth, they'll fold in some meth for you.
Only in Camp Verde.
In Camp Verde, that's right. So anyway, these are some of the new flavors that they are unveiling. Gubernatorial,
Ooh.
which is peanuts and vanilla. Actually, it's not even vanilla. It's just plain white ice cream. It's just frozen milk.
It's ice milk.
Ice milk.
Yeah.
There's no sugar in it. It's just so bland. Cold Stones. It's a pea-sized mountain oysters. On the radio, if you could see me on the radio right now, I'm doing my forefinger curled into my thumbs is indicating pea-sized.
And those would be the actual size. Would those be the actual size
Right.
of Doug Ducey stones?
Yes.
Okay.
In honor of Doug Ducey. Pralines and Lies.
Ooh.
Yes. Ice cream sandwich, which is again vanilla on actual white bread. It's kind of bland.
Yeah, kind of very bland.
Douchey Doo, which is a vinegar and water snow cone.
Oh, dude.
I went there.
Yeah.
And just like, In-N-Out, they have that secret menu where you can
Right.
ask for just meat on the outside and
Yeah.
bread on the ends or whatever, 5 patties.
You get an animal style, which means that they
ask-
grind up Muppet into
You
it.
can ask for this in a rubber bag. There's right-wing white chocolate,
Oh.
or some people call it Caucasian swirl.
All right.
It's delish. Rainbowless sherbet, which it just contains the single flavor of intolerance. Republican Ripple, Weasel Chip,
Yes.
beige, which is like butter
Ooh.
pecan without the pecans in it. It's just beige.
I like that.
Conservative Crunch, no ice cream. It's just all nuts.
Oh.
Rocky Road Back to the Border, which is available only in Nogales and Naco.
And I believe that's Adam Quasman's favorite flavor. Adam Quasman, you remember, is the guy who chased down a school of YMCA kids and said that they were terrified. Probably because Adam Quasman was chasing them
Right.
on foot.
Yeah.
Anyway, he lost, by the way.
A tribute to our soon-to-be ex-governor, Jan Brewer, which is called the Janana Split, or also known as the Brewer's yeast infection.
Oh.
I apologize for that one, too. I shouldn't have gone there.
Oh.
Straw Barrier, which is not, like more berries. It's barrier as in a partition.
Oh, okay.
It's another clever take on the classic Neapolitan, where the brown ice cream is separated from the white ice cream with a wall of strawberry.
Oh, wow.
Neapolitan,
Ooh.
which is another twist on the classic Neapolitan, with vanilla, chocolate, and values.
Oh.
It's a great. And no matter what flavor you enjoy, buy it and send a bill to Obama.
There you go.
Because that's what's going to happen there.
I like these flavors. I think this is a winning strategy.
I think Straw Barrier is going to be a big hit.
For me, I think
The Rocky Road to the
Rocky
back
Road to the border. Yeah.
Oh, delish.
But yeah, so let's talk about what Doug Ducey. Now, do you remember SB 1062, Bill?
I do.
If you remember SB
It's
1062,
a rainbow-less sherbet.
it's a rainbow-less sherbet.
Yeah, there you go.
What was going to happen was, basically, it would give people a license to be crazy bigots, because
Right.
if you walked in, excuse me,
And you looked
Burping it.
gay.
and you looked gay, yeah, you could say,
Get out.
I don't.
I'm sorry, we're not giving you any ice cream.
We're not giving you
Get
any ice
outta
cream.
here.
We're not going to let you sleep in our hotel, or we're
Right.
not going to bake you a wedding cake.
No coffee for you.
No
tough
coffee
guy.
for you. And if you remember, it was a huge backlash, a gigantic backlash against SB 1062. And everyone started panicking in the Republican governor, especially
Jan Brewer.
Jan Brewer, because the Super Bowl was looking at this and like, here's the Super Bowl right now. Here's the NFL. So NFL, some fat guy with a cigar, it's like, look, we just got our first only homosexual player drafted to the Rams. We don't need this
got
kind
cut
of.
from the team.
He did get cut from the team, but he made it through the. He
Right.
made it. I mean, he made it to the final cut, which not everyone gets to go to the NFL. I mean, it's a big deal, and he can still get signed by another team.
Right.
But he's this big, fat guy with a stogie, is like puffing away, and he's like, "Well, we can't let this shit happen in Arizona. We're not going to lose the Super Bowl." So I imagine there were some phone calls made to the governor's office, to the 7th floor, and Governor Brewer quickly brought out her veto pen,
Right.
and vetoed SB 1062, much to the chagrin of many of Christian conservatives.
And she had to come back to do that. She was out of town.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, Doug Ducey was actually one of the first candidates to go on record against SB 1062, but his statement was not one of like, oh, I really think that gays and lesbians deserve equal rights. He tweeted back in February, if I were governor, I would veto SB 1062. And then he released this whole letter stating why. And I'm going to read this from the Arizona Daily Star. And Doug Ducey says, the religious liberty issues that SB 1062 attempts to address are legitimate ones. And I believe there is a way to draft language that would address the concerns of everyone involved and avoid the acrimony and notoriety that have accompanied this bill's passage. I would veto SB 1062, but then I would bring together all interested parties before this legislative session adjourns to forge consensus on acceptable language protecting religious liberty. That is weasel chip right there. That's weasel chip in its pure spoken form. Because what he's saying is, I'm going to veto it because it's public and nasty right now.
Right.
But when everything quiets down, then
we're
just
going
going
to polish this.
We're going to polish this turd and then push it through the legislature. Right. And let's be clear. Kathy Herod, who runs the Center for Arizona Policy, which is this Christian group that basically punches out things that says sex is bad, abortion is bad, homosexuality. Kathy Herod really hates gay people. Not in like she finds them distasteful. If she is basically one step above,
you would think that she would like
Baptist
gay people because gay people don't need abortions.
Precisely, gay people. I think, Bill, you've come up with a winning strategy right there. But she hates them.
Hate abortion? Love the gays.
Yeah, there would be 0% abortion if everyone was gay.
Or less. Yeah. Or less. Because,
you can't have as negative of a negative. I guess you can, but the point is that Kathy Herod and Doug Ducey are best pals.
Ooh.
Doug Ducey, Kathy Herod was an advisor is I think still an advisor on his campaign. And if you think out there that Doug Ducey is not going to bring back SB 1062 in some form when Kathy Herod managed to get it through the legislature back in 2015, you are the dumbest fucking person I know.
It's coming back, and it's going to taste like ice cream.
It's going to come back, but it's only going to come back if you vote for Doug Ducey. If you vote for Fred Duvall has George Takei doing fundraisers for him.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, I almost I don't have the money right now because I spent a lot of money on the shark dive. Incidentally, right now, what time is it? It is 2:26 p.m. I'll more than likely be 50 miles off the coast of Mexico at this point in 2 weeks.
And I'll be sitting in my living room.
Bill will be sitting in his living room. But
counting my loose change so I can go out and get get a discount taco somewhere.
Well, I believe you mean a discount folded corn chip with meat.
Right, yes, a corn chip folded
according
corn
to
chip
John Huppenthal's
ground beef.
John Huppenthal is opening a Mexican restaurant, I believe.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh. Yes,
but it's going to be
Senor Huppenthal's.
He's going Mr. Huppenthal's because he doesn't want the menus to
He's
be.
He's going to call it Mr. Senior's.
Mr. But real quick, we're going to take a break here in a minute. But I want to finish this particular thought. So Fred Duvall is on record being opposed to SB 1062 in all its forms. He has the support of virtually every gay and lesbian rights group, transgender group, bisexual group in the state of Arizona. And these are people who are our citizens, who are our friends, who are our family, and they deserve to have the same rights as you and me, straight people out there. And Doug Ducey, he's not going to defend their rights. Doug Ducey's going to find a way to make Kathy Herod's beliefs come true. And that's bullshit.
It is.
But we're going to take a break real quick while I read some sponsors or people I just like. I like the Academy of Scuba. They're located at 4015 East Bell Road, number 134.
Places to dive.
You can learn to dive.
Yeah.
Hey! Phoenix, Arizona, 85032. Their phone number is 602-971-3483. You can learn anything you want. They are a PADI-accredited facility. They can do anything from open water diving to emergency rescue diving to tech diving to deep water. Academy of Scuba does it all. If you like
how to retrieve your cell phone out of a toilet,
you can. I think they'll show you how to do that too. You can buy equipment. You can rent equipment. Academy of Scuba has great prices. I highly recommend you check them out if you are interested in scuba diving. That's Academy of Scuba at 4015 East Bell Road, number 134, Phoenix, Arizona, 85032. Phone number is 602-971-3483. Tell them the Clute sent you. And you can also buy books and CDs from Brick Cave Media.
Buy my book. Buy my book. Buy my book.
That's Bill Campana's book. You said Beauty to the Blues.
Said Beauty to the Blues.
To the Blues. Available out of Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com.
There's approximately 130 poems in that book.
Are they all good?
They are all good.
They are all good.
They're
Or
all
if
good.
you know Bill Campana, you can find him locally. If you have a job and you can find him, you can buy books
Out of my
from
trunk.
the Bill team. But yeah, Brick Cave Media. Go to brickcavemedia.com.
Pity
and you
the
can check-
fool who doesn't buy my book.
Indeed.
That's what I'm saying.
But you can go to Brick
And
Cave
please
Media.
buy my book because
It's a good book.
I'm
I
not
own it.
working right now, so
Bill needs
sooner
the
or
money.
later I'm going to need to buy something like toothpaste. I'm running low on toothpaste right now. I got it so where I take my comb and I just scrape from the bottom of the tube all the way to the top and just push it all forward.
You stay at a hotel and then you get as much toothpaste as you want. Just load up on soap and toothpaste.
Who can afford a hotel right now? I can't.
Go to like a Days Inn. It's like $30.
Days in, just walk in there.
But in the meantime, let's
I think I left my comb in there and just
brickcavemedia.com.
come out with soap.
Check out our books, check out our movies, check out our audio. You can they sponsor the Beatdown Report, and you should give them some coin.
Is the Dave Tabor baseball podcast coming up soon?
Oh, it is in an alternate universe somewhere.
Okay.
But back to Doug Ducey.
In that supernatural world I was talking about earlier.
Indeed,
Yeah,
where Mitt Romney is president.
he is.
But let's talk about a little bit more about Doug Ducey and how he's going to roll back protections. Because right now there are cities that do recognize gay and lesbian rights. Tempe expanded LGBT rights tremendously through a public vote on election day, where the people voted to expand protections, a protected class status for gays and lesbians. It means in hiring, in housing, and everything that you can imagine. Gays and lesbians are protected right now in the city of Tempe. The way that the law works in Arizona, and I imagine the law would be written this way, is that the state law will supersede whatever local laws are. And they're already and you say, Clute, that can't happen. Well, guess what? It can. There's a law on the books in Arizona previously where a municipality's police department, let's say they seized guns. Many police departments, what they would do is destroy the guns. They don't want these guns back on the street. They've been seized for a crime. And these are laws on the books or policies on the books of the police department. In some cases, they're laws. In some cases, they're policies. The state legislature, signed by Jan Brewer, basically said that the police departments don't have the right to make that decision anymore. That the guns have to be sold. That's a true thing. So if you shoot, let's say I shoot someone dead in the street. So my gun is literally a murder gun. I have killed a man with it. I get prosecuted. I get the electric chair, or whatever. I get the needle in Arizona. We don't have the electric chair here. I get the lethal injection.
Yeah, that works all the time.
Oh yeah, that's the whole thing.
So sometimes it takes a little longer than others.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother show. But yeah, but seriously, in Arizona,
Death by writhing.
What's it take? 2 hours to kill that guy?
Yeah.
God, that's I mean, no matter what the crime was, that kind of shit, that's just terrible.
His name was Rasputin.
Yeah. But they eventually did kill him by dumping him in
They
the
did.
Salt River, which unfortunately wasn't flowing. So, but
Throw
no.
him into the town lake.
But if I kill someone with this gun and I'm convicted of the crime, that gun that I murdered someone with
Can be sold.
can be sold.
Can I buy it?
You can buy it. You can go to a gun auction. I think they have to sell it to a gun dealer. And there's that's superstitious. But it's still it's like taking the gun that shot Lee Harvey, that Kennedy was shot by Lee Harvey
Right.
Oswald with, and selling it to a guy that's on the range.
Right.
There's a certain heft, psychically to that gun now. I don't think it's going to transfer. I don't think someone who has the gun, it's not going to be like a horror film where they're now compelled to go out and shoot someone.
Right.
But it dishonors the victim who was killed by putting this gun back out on the street. As far
But
as
think
I'm
of the
concerned.
stories that gun could tell.
I know, yeah. Give me a whole Quentin Tarantino movie. Follow the gun.
Talking gun.
We got to get some 70s movie action stars in that Quentin Tarantino film. But yeah, so
Steve
Doug
McQueen.
Ducey will roll back these rights, and you can't say that he won't. And there's other things that Doug Ducey wants to do too. He has talked about removing regulatory burdens from small business, which sounds great in theory, but these regulatory burdens that he wants to roll back are things like zoning restrictions, right now, where I live, on the corner of, in the neighborhood of 16th and Thomas. Here's what I have, and I live in a residential area. Thomas is a main thoroughfare through Phoenix, so there's going to be lots of business on that as well. But surrounding this intersection are neighborhoods. I live in the Avalon district. There's Coronado. There's all these other places in this area. And what is on this corner? Well, we have a bail bondsman. We have a check cashing store. We have another check cashing store.
Well, you need that money if you're going to go, put somebody's bail up.
True. We have another check cashing store.
Oh, man, that's 3 of them?
We have 3 check cashing stores and a bail bondsman in one intersection.
Oh, man.
And we have a gas station. We have a Walgreens. And, we have a Burger King, which apparently has bought Tim Hortons donuts in Canada so they can get out of paying taxes. So fuck you, Burger King.
Wow.
If I got to pay my taxes in America, you got to pay your taxes too. And I just won't eat at your crappy restaurant anymore. But regulatory burdens like that, there should be regulations that say you can only have one check out. The bail bondsman I could give a damn about. But increasing the check cashing stores doesn't help the neighborhoods.
No.
It doesn't help the neighborhoods become vibrant. You look on the corners of Scottsdale Road, you're not going to see 4 fucking check cashing stores.
There's banks.
There's banks, or there's restaurants, or there's other neighborhoods, or there's a fire department, or there's something that isn't tangentially involved in bringing a neighborhood down. We have other things that are good. We have restaurants. Barrio Cafe. Barrio Cafe is at 16th and Thomas. It's amazing food. We've got lower. Barrio Cafe is kind of a high-end restaurant, but we've got a Subway, we've got a Pizza Hut, we've got a great little Greek place that just opened up on 16th Street called Nico's Greek Cafe. So we know there's something for everyone, but we need regulation. We need someone to tell businesses and real estate holders, you can't put businesses that cater toward blight.
Why isn't there a bank there? Why doesn't?
Well, that's all. That's the other thing. There's not a bank there because banks don't cater to poor people.
Oh, that's right.
And it's we need regulatory concerns in this state, because if we don't, like uranium mining, what is Doug Ducey's position on uranium mining near the Grand Canyon?
He probably wants to mine.
He does.
He wants to just make that hole bigger.
Yeah. But no, he wants to
canyon.
build a hole next to the big hole. That
Arizona, a grander canyon.
And really, how could uranium mining go bad? It's not going to explode. We're not looking at a nuclear explosion.
Right.
But there's dust. For instance, did you know that that many people associated with the John Wayne film, The Conqueror, which was filmed outside of the nuclear test sites in Nevada, that Pedro Armendariz, John Wayne himself, a bunch of other cast members, I think the director, a bunch of production assistants, they all died of cancer that was suspiciously linked, to the particles of radioactive matter being blown into the sky. Well, when you mine something, you're going to have dust.
Right.
And that dust is going to go into the Grand Canyon. And how many people visit the Grand Canyon every year?
A shit ton.
A shit ton? I'm going to say in the high hundreds of thousands, if not in the millions. And exposing them to radiation. Even the idea of let's say the mine is perfectly safe. It's sealed off. It's airtight. It's hermetically sealed. Everyone walks around in radiation suits. They wet the ground every day. The idea of having a radioactive mine next to the Grand Canyon could kill tourism a little bit, just like SB 1062 killed tourism a little bit, like SB 1070 fucking torpedoed the tourism industry in Arizona.
Right.
And so Doug Ducey wants to do all this crap, and Doug Ducey is wrong for Arizona. We need to drop a Ducey.
Yes.
Bill, do you want to take us out? Do you want to have
anything to say?
Anything to say?
Be thankful you have a job, as they say.
And if you're hiring,
give me a holler.
Bill Campana is available.
You know where to find me. You people know where to find me.
29 years of experience.
Don't give me that. You don't know where I'm at. You
can find Bill Campana at Brick Cave Books.
Brick Cave Books.
Brick Cave Books. And his book said Beauty to the Blues. I want to thank you for sitting in today with me, Bill.
It's been a pleasure.
It was a fun show.
It was.
So this has been the September 14th edition of the Beatdown Report. My name is the Clute. In the jump seat today was Bill Campana, Arizona's most trusted voice in poetry.
Yes.
We're streaming today live via ustream.com. Our hosting for the podcast is provided by Podbean. You can listen to archive shows at thebeatdownreport.podbean.com. You can follow us on Twitter. We are at Beatdown Report on Twitter. Our executive producer is, as always, Bob Nelson. Our producer in studio today was Johnny Skinner. Our PR person is Jen LaBuzz. Our theme song, which you're listening to right now, is Powerhouse by Raymond Scott from the 30s, because we know what the kids like.
That's right.
And you can catch various blog postings and ruminations from me on my blog, my new blog, theclute.com. Go there for all your Clute needs. And don't forget to donate money to us. There's a link in the upper right-hand corner on the left-hand corner on the Beatdown Report page. PayPal, just give us some money. If you donate some money to us, let us know. We'll mention your name on the air. We'll pimp your product as we pimp our own. And I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back on September 28th, I believe. And I will be doing a recap of my expedition to Isla Guadalupe in Mexico, where I will be diving with the great white sharks.
Diving with the mackerels.
So catch you then. Make it a great week for yourself. Thanks for listening.